Excuse me.
Sebi. Makana 3 times.
Acknoeldgements River, situated in the western region of Ghana, flows through the Dwaboso and Nzema East districts. Direct mining on the river in many of the communities along its path has reduced its integrity. The Acknoeldgements is contaminated. The 2023 testing of samples from various catch points revealed high levels of arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, and other harmful metals from Galamsey.
I know of MMDCs and MPs in some communities who have employed people to do Galamsey for them. Even some chiefs in some communities do Galamsey.
At the estuary, where it joins the sea at Axim, residents of Acknoeldgements town are bearing the brunt of the pollution.
This is what remains of a once beautiful, clean estuary where the Acknoeldgements joins the sea. It is now a milky, polluted river joining the sea here. And it is denying a lot of residents here jobs, tourism, and livelihoods. We are here to find out more.
Assembly member for the area, Kophye Kofi Chissah, confirms the illegal mining operations in and around the Acknoeldgements are eroding the economic gains of the community.
Due to the Galamsey activities, we have lost 3 things. One is tourism. The second one is the source of water. And the third one is jobs. Why am I saying so? Because it has affected us economically. Yes, so we are suffering. We are suffering because of the Galamsey activity.
The fishermen and the women who sell their catch are out of jobs.
Previously, we used to catch some fishes here at the estuary, but with the onset of the Galamsey, all of them are gone. We used to fish August, September, October, November, December, 5 months, but now we can only fish for 2 months and we are running at a loss.
Houses at the estuary have flooded recently. Former assembly member for Acknoeldgements town, Mr. Morke, believes the silting of the river by Galamsey is to blame.
Now the Galamsey that they are doing is very closer to the Acknoeldgements River. So that's why it's causing the flood in the community, because the sand that they dig and the river that they heap over there flows into the Acknoeldgements River. And now the river is being wide, so the water that comes from the top to this place is more than previous one that we have been seeing. So the Galamsey is directly, that's what is giving us problem in this community.
The constant pollution of the Acknoeldgements River by Galamsey is a violation of the right to clean and potable water. Until government finds a solution to this, people's lives will be affected. From the estuary, Acknoeldgements town, reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko.
Sacred waters, once no-go zones, are now vulnerable to exploitation. Their purity sacrificed at the altar of prophets. What was once protected by deep-seated respect for tradition is now undermined by the clinking of coins as the sacred is sold off piece by piece. The Ghana Water Company continues to post challenges affecting the processing of water for the consuming public. At their water treatment plant here at Sechahiman, illegal miners continue to mine very close to the intake points of the company. The water treatment plants, once efficient hubs of purification, now resemble battlefields. Here, modern equipment struggles against overwhelming turbidity levels, constantly straining under the burden. The filtration systems, once designed to handle sediment-free water, now grown under the weight of heavy metals and salts, leading to frequent breakdowns.
So the Sechahiman water treatment plant was designed with stability levels of about between 800 to 1,000. But now we hit stabilities of about 11,000. Yeah, yesterday I think stability was about 9,000. So stability, like I told you, you can say is about how unclean the water has become in terms of silts. So water treatment plant that is designed to abstract water without silt is now abstracting the water with silt.
Professor David Kofi Chissah, an esteemed environmental scientist at the University of Cape Coast, sounds the alarm on the relentless Galamsey activities ravaging Ghana's rivers and water bodies. With a deep sense of urgency, he highlights the catastrophic impact of chemicals seeping into these waters, posing a grave threat to the health of countless Ghanaians.
You see, those days when we clarify water, we use just the water stands for some time and the sediment drops and it becomes clean without adding much chemicals. Today, because of the nature, it's mud. It's not water. They are squeezing water out of mud. And so they will have to add a lot of chemicals, alum, to be able to settle this thing that we are talking about.
JoyNews has discovered over 30 fully armed military personnel protecting miners pillaging the Manso Forest in the Ashanti region. This is despite the government's announced withdrawal of all military personnel from mining sites across the country. Erastus Asaridonko reports there was a standoff between the military personnel protecting the miners and the Environmental Sustainability Task Force of the Ministry of Environment, to the extent that the JoyNews team carrying the operations of the task force was attacked and had its vehicle and camera damaged.
The team's journey to this part of Manso and its forest saw scenes of destruction. Abandoned pits and mining settlements dot the road leading into the remaining part of the forest. After dodging water-filled, dangerous open pits, we arrived at this mining settlement deep within the forest enclave. 7 Chinese nationals were quickly located and arrested. Leader of the team conducted a search room by room. There were indications of military presence.
From what we are seeing here, it looks like there are some military men involved in this whole activity in this forest. If you are looking at their uniforms, even some have names on them, but we did not meet any of them. But looking at it, I think the military were the people protecting them here to do this illegal job.
Okay, so what are we doing with the uniforms? First of all, we need to retrieve them and then ascertain as to who sanctioned their duties here.
So these are military accoutrements. You can find names on them. This one is Camel. This one is Camel. We have the other one, Amweni, on this one. And these are, as security men have been able to authenticate, these are quality Ghana Army uniforms, indicating that we may have some military involvement here in this site.
In the midst of our search, a young military officer drove into the compound in a Tundra vehicle.
Yes, sir. I will see a lot of people beat the
He started making some calls to his superiors.
I will do the staff sergeant, sir. We are here at this thing, Tontochrome. The hot duties, and there are some policemen and media be here.
Within the next 30 minutes, the whole place was crawling with over 30 angry, armed military men. Anger turned into heated verbal exchanges and near fisticuffs. A group of physically built men with known faces from the Delta Force group also joined them. The Chinese were released. Our news team was prevented from filming anything from this time onwards as they overpowered the task force and took over.
Please stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing.
Things got physical as the macho men assaulted my driver, forcibly took the keys to our vehicle and struggled with a camera technician for the camera. Under the watch of the military men, they broke our windscreen and side mirrors. Owner of the site, Donald Ntua, ordered the military to delete all footages from our camera and our personal phones. But we managed to retrieve items from our formatted card. It took the intervention of the Ministry of Environment and the Military High Command to get us released. The Minister for Environment told our news team, quote, Heritage Imperial only has a prospecting license, and so it is mining illegally in the forest. He's supposed to be drilling, testing samples to be presented in the process of getting a mining permit. But Donald told our news team he has all the documents giving him full access to mine in the forest. But in all this, the best judge is the environment, which lies unclaimed with huge gullies and pits. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Ghana, it's been a few weeks. I know you missed my blunt thoughts, but I'm back from my leave and we move steam forward. We steam forward. Today I've titled my blunt thoughts, Ecocide Alert. How government officials and unpatriotic citizens are turning Ghana into a barren wasteland. Ecocide Alert. How government officials and unpatriotic citizens are turning Ghana into a barren wasteland. I'm sure with that word, ecocide, some of you are asking, what is that? Ecocide refers to the destruction of the natural environment by deliberate or negligent human action. Their crime for people who commit this is nothing less than attempted ecocide. Now, ecocide is the destruction of the environment by humans, and it threatens all human populations who are dependent on natural resources for maintaining ecosystems and ensuring their ability to support future generations. This morning, Ghana 4, before I even get into my slides, I want us to reflect on where we are as a country, as a people. Ecocide, some would refer to it as ecological genocide. We are in the midst of ecological suicide. That's where we are going. We are killing our environment. And when your environment goes, what will you have left? Everybody that matters. And I'm talking of specific bodies. Even now, the churches are wading into it. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Pentecostal group, all of them are wading in. Yet, we are where we are. This morning, I want to say this. I think it's got to the point where we be more ferocious, even spiritually. And you may say, oh, on TV, maybe you shouldn't. You know what? Everybody, especially these politicians who are involved in Galamsey, despoiling our land, our water bodies, even the air, because some of the burnings also go into the atmosphere. May a curse be upon them. Yes, all of them. They, their families, and their generations to come. If you read your Bible, you know very well that while everybody accepts blame for what they have done, so the children will not eat, or the elders will not eat sour grapes for the children's teeth to be set on edge. If you know your Bible, you know where I'm quoting from. But if these people who keep claiming, okay, for each one of them involved in Galamsey, destroying the environment that is meant for them, for us, and for generations to come, may a curse be upon them, their families, and their descendants to come. May they reap where they have sown and destroy for future generations. May God look at it and give them the reward for that. Come with me. Now, in terms of politicians scrambling to mine in forest reserves, the same politicians you see lining up, Green Ghana, Bell, Green Ghana, green. They are the same ones here, per the fourth estate. Emmanuel Boache, Wasa East DCE. Chairman Wuntumi, some of them, they are tough nuts in it, you know. As for Akunta mining, it's been in, even recently, again, on the Tano River, Ethiopia, Owusu Echao, Dwaben parliamentary candidate, Ohene Jan, a lawyer, who also dabbles in a number of things, and Sampine, CEO of the KMA, all cited, not by me, by the fourth estate. Now, let's go on. Now, look at the forest reserves involved. There are a number of them. This is not an exhaustive list, right? The Odan Forest Reserve, Tano Nimri Forest Reserve, where, you know, Akunta mining has been very prominent. The Boyen Tano Forest, Tano Surround Forest Reserve, and it goes on and on. Even river forest reserves. Let's go to the next slide. But then you have, you know, the egregious aspect of all of this. When politicians misspeak, of course, they are misleaders, so when they misspeak, maybe it shouldn't surprise us. But someone like the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Acknoeldgements, I heard it and Charlie. Anyway, I was very happy when the minority leader challenged us that we will debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. You have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than we have. You polluted the water more than, technically you should be using we have, not us. So let's get matters straight. It goes on. Next slide. That is what he has. To say, oh, but why are you being hard on us? After all, Mukra Muyebi. Hey, Ghana. You see why I'm cursing this morning? Do you see why? Because left to these politicians, and you see, what irks me is that politics is not bad. Go to other countries. Politics works. Go to Japan. Go to Norway. Go to different countries. Politics works. But our brand of politics and the breed of politicians we have, if we don't tame them, if we don't take out their fangs and their claws, they will destroy us. How many people in Parliament? 275. How many members of the executive, ministers? Even some people in the judiciary. How many? Put that number together and look at the general population of Ghana. How many people? Holding us to ransom. You look at the Galamsey in forest reserves, 34 forest reserves affected. 34. Do you know what this means? That's why I'm talking about ecocide. Many of you have never heard of it. Ecological genocide. That is what is happening. 34 forest reserves affected. Next slide. 60% of water bodies polluted in terms of these forest reserves. 60%. Are we mad? At what point do we stop? At what point do we say enough is enough? At what point does our greed become satisfied? At what point? When all of Ghana is destroyed, when we don't have water to drink, that's the only time we'll stop to think. I was in the Netherlands and they can drink tap water, Pure. Try that in Ghana. Next slide. Turbidity levels in the central region. The nephelometric turbidity unit, NTUs. Look at this. Even what we are talking about here was high. 2,000 NTU. Now, look at us here. 14,000 NTU. 600% higher. No wonder the Ghana Water Company Limited is producing at reduced levels. And we'll get there shortly. Next slide. If you look at the drop in nationwide water production, the Ghana Water Company Limited has been warning us. Maybe when it gets there, we'll start to think. 2022, the level was at 70%, 2024. And this is even 2022, how many years ago? When efforts we are 2024, 40% level. That is where we are. Let's sit down. MPP, NDC. Next slide. Now, what boggles my mind, I personally saw to this data and brought that. You know, the gold we are striving after and everything. Do you know the sad part? Even in Africa, oh yeah, we are the biggest producer of gold. Actually, if you look at in real terms, we are not. Because countries are sitting on gold. Even the USA, Russia, China, they are sitting on great gold deposits. They are not mining. Yeah, they are home praying, so let's mine. And it's because of the greed, especially of politicians. Because if you look at it technically, and you look at this list, Algeria has gold reserves, 173 tons. Libya, 146. Egypt, 126. South Africa, we like to rub shoulders senselessly. 125. Morocco, 22. Nigeria, 21. Nigeria, 21. Mauritius, 12. Where are we? 8.7. That's our reserve. Gold na ye fumuno. Sikakoko na ye fumuno. We are doing this with this puny amount of gold, destroying our entire environment because of this. And when it's gone, the consequences will be there for generations, 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 generations upon generations to come. If we are not wicked, like Prophet Oduro will say, and maybe senseless, would we do this? Look at your reserves compared to others. They are sitting on theirs, because they're planning. You are in a hurry, spoiling everything. That is why I am issuing curses on our leaders today. Next slide. Now, the key voices raising the alarm on Galamsey, Ghana Water Company Limited. CSE and Ethiopia, Ebahwa, Insuono, Obia Beko, Koshe Ebra, and Boho, no cry, Insuomba. Who drink air. You drink. UTAG, Organized Labor, the Asante Hene, Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Christian Council and Catholic Bishops Conference, Peasant Farmers. Let's go to the next slide. And the demands? Simple. Declare a state of emergency. Here, say, oh, state of emergency. We are not saying declare a state of emergency in the whole country. After all, during COVID, didn't we do it? Even when we were milking the system to make all kinds of money from it, didn't we do that one? In core areas where this is affecting all of us, but in those areas, we say, lie, it is not there. Repeal LI 2462, and we know what that has done, and halt mining in forest reserves. How we got to the point where we now accept, let's go into mining forest reserves and mine there, only God knows. It is true, only God knows the heart of man. Because if some of these people today doing this, how many years ago, if someone had said, oh, these people will act like this, who would have believed? Who would have believed? Seize and destroy illegal mining equipment. Provide sustainable employment alternatives. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the response from the Lands Ministry, and they always have such flowery responses. Mr. Jenapo, good morning to you. Reformative measures and strict enforcement will continue. So far, what has it yielded? RECSEC is mandated to intensify enforcement actions. National support is needed to protect the environment. Who is going to provide that support? Galamsey discourse should avoid political divisions. Yate. Next slide. He also says, declaring a state of emergency, that is in the bosom of the president. But I find that forget about bosom of the president. But I find that being far-reaching, being a very draconian measure to take. There are people who have invested in responsible small-scale mining, who are mining responsibly, contributing to the national economy, and employing hundreds and thousands of Ghanaian youth who have committed no crime. Okay. Make we do that now. I say, if it will take a wholesale ban, not for long, so we can streamline and say, Asemesi is doing well. Asemesi, you are doing the wrong thing. But how can you even complain when today an ally has been passed for people to be able to mine in forest reserves? No sensible country, I said it, go and search, does that. But in Ghana, we do that because of greed. And like I keep saying, as has been said, there may come a time when the poor will have nothing else to eat but the rich. So go ahead. Continue to create wide disparities between the very poor and the very rich, the haves and the have-nots. That day, God forbid, when it comes, we'll see who suffers. We'll see whether the money you stashed underground, like we know some politicians have, in your basement and all of that. We'll see whether you can keep the money. I wonder whether they don't see what has happened in other African countries and how leaders, mighty, powerful, were drawn out like goats. Next slide. And he talks about, let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Then finally, the NCCE on Galamsey. Illegal mining is a direct existential threat to our environment, public health, and the prosperity of our country. The parties must articulate and spell out without equivocation how they will address this menace. That's my friend, Kathleen Addy. She's trying with the limited resources she has. But I'll say this, and I will repeat. Maybe these politicians are doing what they are doing because, the running mate of the MPP said, even God sleeps at night. I'll refer him to Psalms 121, verse 1. The one who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. I guess maybe some people think God sleeps. Nyame wada. Omwada. Intino. They can do what they do. When, if you know any geography, you know that whenever it's night somewhere, it's always day in another part. So during which night does God sleep anyway? May God save our country. May he help us. Because where we are going, only he can touch the hearts of our leaders. And we ourselves, to stop being senseless, to stop being MPP NDC, and to take the mantle of saving our country. My name is Benjamin Akako. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. God bless Ghana and make her great and strong.
Of environmental protection laws, their enforcement has been weak and inconsistent. Corruption, complicity of political leaders, some chiefs, and a lack of political will have further exacerbated the problem, allowing illegal mining to thrive unchecked. We wish to state that Ghanaians can no longer tolerate the lip service of government of whatever color in the fight against Galamsey. And we call for action not tomorrow, but now, and right from this press conference. And all hands must get on board.
The way we have destroyed this nation with Galamsey, show me pictures. Show me pictures of Galamsey. This is irresponsibility. This is irresponsibility. This is irresponsibility. You are here saying, God bless our homeland, Ghana. Do you think if I am a Galamseyer, I will be standing here this morning? Me too, Galamsey. Do you think the people doing this nonsense have people who are in authority powering them? One pump action gun is 40,000 Ghana cedis. So who buys pump action guns and give to these people who are able to face the police and the soldiers? They can face them because they have been empowered by people in authority. They have eaten their cake and they are still looking for it. Wicked leaders will be judged. Now Ghana Medical Association is telling the Republic of Ghana that stop every act, whether it's Galamsey or small scale mining, whatever, stop it immediately. Because now we are having children with 2 heads, children with only 3 fingers. If it comes more, 17 fingers. We are having birth deformations from the chemicals of this menace. And we have a president of this country. We have a cabinet of this country. We have a parliament of this country who looks on irresponsibly. You know, at least we have a chief in this country who is trying. Can these 2 people, you are Galamsey, Your Majesty, or say to the second, at least you are trying. That trying should be the leadership of this nation. Look at the way the church is quiet about this menace. This menace. Your members are going to be dying of kidney failures and leukemia and all kinds of cancers from this. This Galamsey, show me pictures, please. This Galamsey thing is not going to be a joke. I mean, when are we going to fix this? America. Now, do you see America doing this? Do you see even South Africa, who does a lot of mining? I have been to many mining sites in South Africa. You will clap. Doing this. Greedy people. Money over everybody's life. Ask Pastor Dr. Ibrahim, seated here. 16 years. I met a woman at the pharmacy, the other day. Said, Prophet, pray for my daughter. I said, where is your daughter? She said, she's in the car. I went to the car. I saw a beautiful young girl, but very sick and weak. I said, how old is your daughter? The woman said, 16 years old. And I said, what is wrong with your daughter? Kidney failure, stage 5. Kidney failure, stage 5. We have all kinds of leaders here. So when your prophets, some of them wants to talk, God has revealed to me who will win this election. You are very irresponsible. We don't care about this election. We care about sensible people who wants to do sensible things. We don't care. We are
does that mean that no step? Did you see the Galamsey Accra Kumasi highway? Did you see what had been done about 5 meters from the main highway? As of last week, that pit had not even been covered.
We are all concerned about what happened.
It is not a matter of being concerned. I can be.
It is them.
Chief,
they encourage.
I can be concerned.
How can you say we encouraged it?
Chief.
You even say you will even give them amnesty.
See, all the things happening in
Congo. Give them amnesty.
We said
you have not even proposed anything to do that.
Stop.
If you come.
This is a false. All the things happening. All the things happening in Konongo Dumasi. There's a rucksack there. There's a rucksack there and everything. And I've seen what is happening. I've seen the work done by Erastus and all the other people. A town virtually hanging on stilts because there's mining going all under. And then government issues a statement to tell me that the same people who have superintended this thing are those that government intends relying on to enforce the law.
Is it
how?